Hello everyone. Before I can go in today's topic, I should introduce myself again. My name is JoJo. I am a newly retired person who decided to travel and explore all while making Mexico my new home. So today I would like to address why I'm leaving the States. I have been asked about this decision multiple times by my family members, my friends, and my coworkers, or former coworkers. My desire to leave started in 2014 because of the economic and political climate here in the States. To put it simply, I do not want to work for anyone anymore. I want an area that has a low cost of living for my fixed income. I have noticed that prices on everything is rising for no reason in the last few years. Also, the daily politics are everywhere. It's on television and radio. And I don't listen to those mediums that often, but I do have a phone. And there is a constant exposure on social media, ads through email, and general cold calls. At this point in my life, it's just too exhausting to be a part of this political gambit. I choose to divest my income and my mind for a more peaceful endeavor. Let me confirm, I had started the search to move abroad by visiting multiple countries. The search consisted of Thailand, China, Tanzania, and lastly, Mexico. Thailand was beautiful and the temperature was perfect. The people were friendly and inviting. I visited the city of Bangkok, Pad Thai, and Ayutthaya. In Bangkok, shopping was everything. There were underground malls so you can avoid the summer heat. The public transportation was state of the art, and the cost of living was exceptionally low. The apartments there were very well designed and affordable. However, what stopped me from moving was the distance. I still have a reasonable sized family in the States, and I wanted to visit them at a drop of a hat. A flight from Southeast Asia can take at least 18 hours, so Thailand was out of the question. I can say, as a child, I romanticized about China because of its artwork and the Saturday afternoon Kung Fu movies. I had a fantasy of visiting the Great Wall and being inside of the Forbidden City, all because of what I watched on TV. However, my reality was much different once I arrived in the city of Beijing. I felt like I was on display when I was in Beijing. I could not deal with the constant stares or the repeated questions of why I looked the way that I do. The locals asked me, my interpreter I should say, why I was so dark. Then there was the questions of what I did for a living, how much money did I make, or did I own a house or a car. Beijing was a lovely city, and I had the opportunity to live my childhood dreams. I just could not live there and deal with repeated reminders that I was different. When I visited Arusha and Dar es Salaam in Tanzania, the climate for me was impeccable. The people there looked just like me, and when I attempted to learn Swahili, it was not that difficult. However, public transportation was not what I expected, and it was difficult to get around without a personal driver. Again, the flights were long and extremely expensive. There was also a sense that I was getting hustled everywhere I went. The search continued and led me to Mexico. I must admit that I had a bias towards Mexico because of what was pushed by US media. I remember that my daughter had visited Mexico and my family, including myself, warned her not to leave her resort in Cancun. I later reviewed multiple videos of US immigrants living in Mexico City, and they were loving it. So curiously, I decided to visit Mexico City, aka CDMX, and I loved it. CDMX was vibrant and alive. Every morning I would wake up and walk around the city to find something new. Central CDMX was clean and had an artistic vibe. The food was amazing. The people were friendly. Although CDMX had everything, it was a little too fast-paced for me. And I was thinking about the future. Can I make it around the city when I am much older? I also had to consider that there were some areas that were expensive and too rich for my income. My next venture was to Merida, which is in the Yucatan. A flight to Merida takes only 6 hours from my home state. If there are any family issues, I can arrive in a day. And the cost of flights are inexpensive. I fell in love with this small city. And the safety of Merida is unmatched. The last time I went to Merida in November was for a scouting event. I had to make sure I could get around by myself, by vehicle, and by walking in general. I walked in Centro with no issues, especially when I stuck out and looked different from everyone else. There was a point when I walked around the city around 10 o'clock at night, and not once did I look over my shoulder in any concern. There were police everywhere. The shopping is quite easy. In every neighborhood, you can walk to a nearby vegetable stand. With the likelihood the vegetables are organically grown by the merchant or have little to no pesticides. I am a vegan, so vegetables are very critical for my diet. As far as other produce that cannot be purchased at the neighborhood stands, I can go to the name brand supermarkets, and they are still in walking or biking distance. Also in Merida, the shopping experience is different for me than it is in the States. I don't have to feel that someone is watching me because there is a belief that I may be stealing something. I can have a non-toxic experience of shopping. Yes, I may have to pay a gringo tax at some shops, but that's a reflection of a tourist environment, not because of my race. Driving will be a necessity for me. Mexico is part of the North American continent, so driving my car to Merida with the proper insurance and paperwork is a plus. I also want to mention, I do have my girls, Tanzania and Heather. They are a huge part of my life, and I cannot live without them. They need me, and I certainly need them. I cannot put them through the stress of a long flight, subject them to quarantine, or transport them in a cargo area of a plane. Driving to Mexico eliminates all of these concerns. And that's why I'm leaving the States and why I decided to move to Mexico. If you have any questions, please comment below. Thank you for watching. Like, share, and subscribe.